The organisation is quite a complicated organisation to understand sometimes. We often call ourselves an umbrella body, a representative body, we're also a membership organisation, but the crux of it is we're here to support the voluntary sector in the widest sense.
Support Staffordshire helped me in the beginning when they were CVS in order to actually set up a charity.
Good morning, it's the Pathway Project.
Without Support Staffordshire being there, it would be really difficult for us to function in the way that we do, because we do need sometimes to consult someone else and to have an expert view. And they've been so supportive and helpful and great with funding opportunities.
Talent Match was set up just over 5 years ago. We've worked with Support Staffordshire in several ways. In practical terms, we get support from the finance department who help us to run our payroll facility. In addition, they support us with pensions, help us with the budget setting. If it wasn't for Support Staffordshire, Talent Match wouldn't exist, quite simply.
One of the other roles of Support Staffordshire is around representation and the kind of voice of the voluntary sector, and that's both on a local level but also sometimes on a regional and a national level.
From my point of view, the real value of Support Staffordshire is representing very small groups like ours at a more strategic level. So things like social prescribing, it's very much what we do here. So it's a means whereby instead of doctors giving people pills to deal with their anxiety, depression and so on, they can direct them to activities which may benefit them.
Support Staffordshire have been tremendously helpful. First of all, it made us realise that our project was achievable. Secondly, they made us aware that they had the potential to help fund it. And thirdly, they actually helped me through the application process. And without the help of Support Staffordshire, we'd have been struggling. But knowing that this facility was suddenly available and that it was relatively easy to go through the process with lots of help, it's fantastic.
Can you give me an update on the Star Awards? In terms of impact, it can sometimes be quite hard to put across what Support Staffordshire does. One of the slightly blunt measures we sometimes refer to is the amount of money, the amount of inward investment that's come into the voluntary sector within the county. So over this 5-year period, we reckon that the member organisations that we've supported with things like funding applications, but also the other stuff you need to win and secure funding, they have brought in around about £10 million of additional funding into Staffordshire to make a difference in all sorts of ways, helping children, people with disabilities, older people, environmental projects, residents groups, homelessness. The list is endless.
I went along to an income generation funding workshop because we hadn't got any funds in the church to replace the kitchen, which was very old. Went along to that, which enabled us to find out how we could apply for a lottery grant, and we got it. Delighted. Over 600 people use this centre a week, so it's made such an impact on the users. I don't know whether I would have got it if I'd have gone for it alone, but with all the expert knowledge, it really, really helped.
Over the last few years, Support Staffordshire have been fantastic in general information, advice and support. And we've been able to host some of the forum events, and they've been brilliant for networking. And at one of those events we were introduced to Inspiring Healthy Lifestyles, which led to us putting on our Activate project, which has been a really successful way of reaching out to local children and families and helping them through the holidays, tackling holiday inactivity, hunger and isolation. And Support Staffordshire played an integral role in the planning of that event and the success of it, so that it ran through last summer and now we're running it through every school holiday this year. So they've been a massive help in helping us to reach out to our community.
As a charity, we find this area, this particular spot is the best really for the last 10 years, because where we've been located before, we've actually moved as a charity 6 times. Not that we didn't want to move, it's because we didn't have the sort of the resources, or it was because of the overheads of the building. So I think it's really important that people like Support Staffordshire are there and existing.
Before Support Staffordshire, I felt very much on my own. The biggest difference it's made to Lee Hall is that we now have much better knowledge of the legal aspects of running a welfare centre, creating policies and procedures, and knowing we've got that backup. It felt like a weight off my shoulders.
And it's good morning to everyone in Laserland. When we started, we were just 3 blokes sitting in a pub, and we decided to launch this radio station. But once we got onto Support Staffordshire, and we knew we had their help, and eventually advised to take us into becoming a CIC, that was so important. Knowing that they were there gave us a lot more confidence.
Times are challenging for the voluntary sector, and particularly for us as a support organisation, that continues to be the case. But for us, what that means is more collaboration, more working with other organisations, continuing to strengthen our relationship with the County Council, for example, building on the existing long-term relationships that we've had with district councils. We're going to be doing much more, I hope, with the NHS around stuff like social prescribing. We're also trying to move and secure our income and to broaden and diversify our income, which means a particular piece of work around private sector and corporate donations and sponsorships, which we're going to be doing a lot more around that. So it's not just about delivering services, it's about the sector coming together as a movement to make a difference, to make a change for real people's lives.
Support Staffordshire were instrumental in us getting the park contract organised. They hold the money for us and they release it as and when we need it. Without that support, we couldn't have got the park up and running. It means everything. It's really important. Without these projects, I think we'd have less engagement in the community, particularly in the children and the young people. Our community has benefited greatly from the work that Support Staffordshire have done.
Shining Stars is a nightclub experience for people with learning disabilities in the Staffordshire area. Support Staffordshire have been brilliant. They've helped us with some training and sorting out our policies and making sure the structure of Shining Stars is going to be a lot stronger than it is now.
Support Staffordshire is a bit like a safety net, but also a trampoline at the same time. So it lifts you up when you're having struggles and when you're finding life difficult with your work, but it also catches you when you need the help and support, and you just need someone to be there.